My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was taller by half than my grandpa himself, though it weighed not a penny, weighed more. Now it was bought on the morn dear old grandpa was born. It was always his treasure, his pride. But then it stopped real short, never to go again when dear grandpa died. Old lovable grandpa was born. It was always his treasure and pride. But man, it stopped real short. It never did run again when old grandpa done died. Oh, my grandpa, he's gone. Oh, grandpa, come back, come back. Things have changed, Grandpa. Oh, 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 oh. Bye-bye, Grandpa, dear.
Oh, good morning. Today is Saturday, September 13, 2025. Daily reflection. Let's do that. Start off with something wholesome and helpful. Share screen, daily reflection, share. Repairing the damage, September 13. Good judgment, a careful sense of timing, courage and prudence. These are the qualities we shall need when we take step 9, 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 83. To make amends can be viewed two ways. First, that of repairing damage, for if I have damaged my neighbor's fence, I make amend. That is a direct amend. The second way is by modifying my behavior, for if my actions have harmed someone, I make a daily effort to cause no further harm. I mend my ways. And that is an indirect amend. Which is the best approach? The only right approach, provided that I am causing no further harm in so doing, is to do both. If harm is done, then I simply mend my ways. To take action in this matter assures me of making honest amends. So we're getting in kind of into the guts of step 9 here in the 9th month, and we're in the middle of the month. Now I missed a week, about maybe more. So some days last week, no, some days earlier this week, I didn't get internet back until yesterday. Yeah. So we may have missed some of the technicalities of how this works, which I can click on these and we could go back and see what they say. Not delaying because we are afraid was on the 11th. The promises will materialize if we work for them. An encouragement to make amends. And there's a promise that it will happen. I didn't know there was a promise involved with making amends. That's kind of an interesting thing. calling on the higher power to oversee this and protect us. We did watch Our Side of the Street. At least I think I did. Yeah, I was there, and Sunday morning I was back at my old house, and we had internet there, and I missed some of the week before. So you're sure welcome to visit the daily reflection on the days that I'm not around. It may not hold the attraction for you that it has been for me. So um, let's see. I laid in bed here for a while and watched. I'm moving to the what I've been seeing on YouTube um, portion of the program, and was lying in bed, yeah, lying in bed, and watching PVK talking about um, history. That's what I want. Jedi Brain. It's a members only thing. Jedi Brain in a World of Violence. I'd never heard of Jedi Brain. I thought that was interesting. When I think of Jedi Brain, I think of the attempt to have mind control over other people. These are not the droids. You have to do it with your hands. These are not the droids you're looking for. That might work right up into the word droids for me. It's like if you remind them what they're looking for, uh, that's not as effective as you would hope. Anyway, so that kind of Jedi brain that I can steer the world, of course, it's the opposite side of the Sith brain. They're also steering the world. So um, yeah, that's what I thought he was talking about. And maybe it's kind of, hi Tunji, maybe it's kind of what he was talking about. I had never heard that term before. Um, but he's talking about like, if only I could defeat my nemesis, the source of all badness in the world, that the world would then be a better place. And the the real, I think I talked about this recently, the real crux of that was in the second movie, the second of the original series of three, where Luke and his father, Darth Vader, maybe it was the third. Yeah, no, it's the third, because in the second he finds out that Darth Vader is his father. The third movie, he attacks, he goes to the Death Star, and is it the Death Star or somewhere else? I don't remember where they're at. The Emperor is there, and Darth Vader and Luke um, and Darth Vader kind of face off against each other, and the Emperor encourages Luke to go to the dark side, to use violence to make the world a better place, which is the call of the dark side. And we talked yesterday about having like some of the largest change. If we want to make a large change in the world, how it's so much easier. Well, I don't know if easier is the right. It appears to be easier to make that. Yes, I can feel your anger. Exactly. Exactly. To the call to violence as a solution. And there is a place where physical, like manhandling. I watch these videos of people getting arrested and they get manhandled, they throw them on the ground and bend their arms around and make them uncomfortable. And the people that happens to are, yeah, you're right. The short-term change, it pays off in the short term, maybe, but in the long term, you pay for a long time. Whereas a constructive change, it's kind of the other way around. You work a long time, and you do it kind of in a matter of faith that it will turn out with the short-term usually destructive change. You do it you get the short-term, well, whatever small benefits you think you're going to get, but then there's a long-term pay. What was I talking about? So the dark side, the I don't think the movie managed it very well because it didn't give a moral reason why one would be better than the other. It was just that the Jedis were, peacefully manipulating. These are not the droids you're looking for, and the other guys were, foolish or selfishly manipulating. Well, I mean, what the droid thing? That's selfish. So they didn't really handle the difference between the two in a very good way, and draw line, a clear line about why one would be better than the other. Um, that would have been helpful to clarify that there's some like moral value being used there, a moral pattern. Um, that's not the right word. That there's a distinction. That there's a distinction. Yeah, I use both too. I saw a bug. I saw a bug in our new house, and I railed against it. And I said, "Bug, you are not allowed in our house. No bugs in my house. You turn around and you get out, or I will bring the stomper." And he just stared at me. So I went. I was barefoot at the time. I went and I got my shoe, and he met the stomper, and he is gone from my house. So yes, I employ both. I went to the dark side, directly to the dark side with that bug. He meant the stomper. And I left his body, lifeless body, in the hall. I think I eventually swept him up and threw him out. So yes, I do take that. I do I do take that path sometimes. And on that occasion I kind of enjoyed it, putting on a little show, especially since there's no one here. Um, but I usually even don't like that. So sometimes I sweep them up and throw them out the window. Now, like ticks and mosquitoes, I have very I have very little patience. It doesn't bother me. I'm biting flies. It doesn't bother me at all to smack them right on while they're biting me. Just whack them, and I actually get some pleasure out of that. If they fly away and I chase them away, I know they're just going to come back because I know that's in their nature. And see, I have I have relegated ticks and biting flies and mosquitoes because I've put them outside the pale. They are no longer beneficial in my mind. Tunji is going to come in and save this whole operation. Good morning, Tunji.
Good morning, Chris. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm here to listen to your reflections.
Yeah, so people are talking about this guy getting shot on video, and Paul had this thing about it. I didn't really pay much attention to the guy. I'm not going to watch the video. I have already talked about when I get on like Twitter how I see these. It's already throws at me these things that are like justice in real life. Some guy's robbing some guy in Brazil, and the other guy shoots him, and it's like, aha, he gets what he wants. That call to violent justice, and the Twitter machine knows that is something that is a weak spot for me. So I stay away from Twitter. it's 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 like endless snuff films. If I start clicking on the things it wants me to click on, and it's like, no, I'm not going to watch that. So no, I'm not going to watch Charlie Kirk die on camera, or the lady in the subway or whatever. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that to myself. uh, and then all the people, I've really been surprised about how much reaction there has been. I didn't know. Yeah, I was really been surprised. I was trying to think of similar people. I don't want to draw attention to people like, oh, well, this guy should be next. No, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of similar people in my cosmos, and what the reaction would be. And I think, yeah, I'm not going to say their names because yeah, the 5 guys who are watching this, one of you may be planning. No, no, I don't think that. Anyway,
It's
I
bad.
find myself also embarrassed. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. I find myself also embarrassed that I have these like technical um, thoughts instead of actually having very much emotional response. Maybe I'm not as kind-hearted as I should be to think about the widow and the children and things like that. I think more of the way that it calls back to basically Satan. He's a destroyer, and to take the satanic route to make a difference by destroying is not a healthy way to go. So
I am still processing the tragedy, quite frankly. I think that, and and I'm not on Twitter, and my algorithm knows that I don't watch footage of violent things in general, but the news itself certainly has gone beyond its beyond the national significance, and I will say even beyond the political significance, because there is something that uh, was something that was touched, uh, that is an affront to uh, to freedom, to decency, to all things that are good. So it's an offense to humanity itself, in a way.
oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
it is not just. So I don't know. I think that I've been very sensitive also the looking at the conversations um, that are they are the aftermath of the tragedy, and the consideration of what can, what are the circumstances, because also in that, um, I think that there is a need from a deeper reflection and consideration, that is not just a resolution to the usual comment on political violence. Not it's a At least for me, I see it some on a level a little bit beyond the political violence that requires that if we put the conversation on the level of politics, then we are actually making some good points. We are telling the things for what they are, and not for just reenacting the mechanism that led to that um, tragedy in the first place.
I think I followed you.
I was a little bit vague, I have to
That's
admit.
okay. And I'm
Mhm.
kind of spacey this morning, so my lack of being able to follow might not be your fault. Yeah, and there's that trap that we set for each other, like they didn't respond right. Somebody I was talking to my wife about this. She was saying, "Well, I saw somebody say, oh, all these lefties are now ha ha haing, and I don't see any of that even amongst my lefty friends." And I say, "Yeah, that's kind of depends on what you're being shown." But we set this trap for our enemies that like, oh, now you have to respond correctly to this tragic event, and that's also it's also trying to reap our own benefit from um, a tragic situation. and kind of heartlessly. So it's kind of like the school shooting thing. I think we've kind of got into, it's happened so much that we haven't, now we've gotten more sophisticated about it, but we look more at each other for the reaction, and then we abuse each other for the reaction, and it turns into kind of a ripples of the same thing over and over.
Yeah. The difficult thing is that there is the action and reaction that is it is what it is. I mean, there are always extremes of reaction one way or another, and then there are more considerate reaction in the middle. That's how it is for everything. But even in our space, in this internet space, I think that it is worth considering what's really the purpose or the significance of having conversation or even debates, and what do they mean really, not just how do they work, but what do they mean. And
Well, say more about that. And what is the purpose of
well,
having a debate?
Yeah, that's in my worldview, and it's a worldview where I'm not a moral relativist. The purpose of a dialogue is not that we maybe we have our own, I have my idea, you have your own idea, and through conversation we will find or discover that there is the truth in the middle, you know. This is not what I believe. This is not what is this is not what the truth is or can be. The truth is something that is not the synthesis between two opposite positions. And that's, again, it's a doctrine that well, it belongs more to a the truth is truth. So if I have the truth, if I have the truth and you have a lie, what we are doing in dialogues, it cannot be something coming to something in the middle regarding to that truth. You know, we can come in the middle, of course. We always come in the middle all the time, and especially in politics. But what we are coming to as a in the specific matter of what we are discussing, it cannot be something in the middle. It has to be the truth. So if someone is profoundly wrong and someone is profoundly right, that the way that we understand what we are doing in dialogue and in debate or in openness, it cannot be a synthesis between the two positions, because we were just making we are just diluting the truth. We are compromising to a point of lie, and for moral truth, it is not compromised. You know, the application can be dispensed according to necessity, but the truth itself is not a compromise. And when we discuss the truths, we have to be able to point to that direction, to proclaim and to affirm what is true, as opposed to what is false.
That's interesting. So, at least in our politics that we find acceptable, we compromise has to happen, and so there has to be some dilution of the good in order to make it acceptable and workable. And so a democratic process is less than optimal, but hopes to find the best that can be endured. I get frustrated with people trying to make politics like religion, because I think it can never have that purity. You might be able to approach the truth, but the truth is not endurable. We can't go there and live with and make a livable situation. Is that
Well,
would you agree with that?
well, I see what you say. Yes, but the problem is that there is a, and the reason why I mentioned moral relativism, there is a mistake in categories there. The purpose of democracy is not to come to the knowledge of truth. The purpose
Right.
of democracy is to establish the will of the majority, whatever it is. It
Right.
has nothing to do with truth.
Right. But at least in the environment that I live in the United States, a lot of people see it that way, that it is a truth-finding mechanism. And I don't think
What
it
is
is a truth-finding mechanism.
well, politics can be, but not democracy. Democracy is just an instrument of for political ideas. But you want to discuss those ideas. You want to
Yeah.
you want the most the vast majority of people to have the best ideas that will be the true ones, and you want to and you want to affirm what is true for being true, even if it is a minority opinion, because truth is not a matter of opinion, or it's not a matter of consensus, you know. So we are playing two different games. One
Yeah,
is
it is.
on the
Yeah,
level of
it's two different games. Yeah. So if you raise up democracy as a holy thing, that's going to cause you a lot of trouble. It's going to be a mistake. You're going to run into that issue, that it's not looking for the same thing. I'm with you that I think there is a truth, that there is and my grasp of it is somewhat tenuous. That talking with people, I can kind of see glimpses of it from their point of view, but my grip on it is not necessarily very strong.
Mhm.
I think I have some idea, but the more I think that, the less the more I think I'm in trouble to some degree, because I have to maintain some humility, or go and set people straight, and then that would lead me to the path of jihad, or kind of a thing where, yeah, that guy did the wrong thing, and I should do something about that. I don't know. There's an interesting thing of that in TLC land, where PVK is a pastor of a church, and he is extremely. Someone else is entering. Oh, this is Chad. PVK himself is allowed in his system to sit and listen to people say things that he definitely does not believe, and accept them being in that spot without shaking the truth in front of their face, and that somehow that is a form of grace to be able to do that. And a lot of people that see themselves having the truth can't stand that. That can't be. You can't do that. You have to set them right. So, oh, wise one with the great beard, what brings you to us this morning?
That candlelight.
I just was listening to some other stuff, and I couldn't sleep anymore. And I saw you guys were on, and I thought I'd come and be virtually not alone.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Hmm.
I approve of that.
Hmm.
Tunji, you reminded me of well, you brought to mind something to me. Some of what I do on TLC is like going to the zoo. Not that you guys are wild animals, but there's this picture like it's like I'm seeing things that I cannot imagine how they work. And so you've got, that guy's a giraffe. What would it be like to have your neck this long? And this guy's an elephant, and they all have the kind of different shapes. They have some similarity, and they're kind of after the same things with, food and mating or whatever animals are all after. But the wild nature of it, and how to see how someone who, if they take this part and they really go with this part in a big way, then they become a giraffe with a long neck, and that means they are, you must speak in tongues. To me that's like a giraffe with a long neck, and it's just amazing what that turns into, and I see, oh, okay, well, if you do that, that's where it goes. And so it's kind of an interesting, I don't know. I
I
stand
have
by
no
and I
clue
watch
what are
that.
you talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
Are
I
you
do
speaking
either.
metaphorically in the terms of the
I'm
ideas that
kind of
are?
metaphorically, yeah. It's that if you, because most of TLC is kind of Christian, Bible-y around
Mhm.
that, not completely, but philosophically, someone will take some certain thing like, you know,
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
determinism, is
Mhm.
determinism yes, no, and you turn out looking like a hippopotamus instead of like a giraffe because it forms the rest of your shape, and it's like, oh, well,
Uh-huh.
that's what you turn out to be. But you can still live that way. Giraffes live fine and hippopotamuses live fine, but it turns you into a kind of a different thing. And the variety of it, I think, is on purpose. So we think that, God wants everyone to see things exactly the same way. Well, I'm not convinced of that. He wants people to know the truth, yes, but he starts them off from some very strange places to travel from to get there, and he takes them in weird ways. So I don't know
Yeah.
what to make of that. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing there, but it's very interesting. It
The
seems to
one
be on
thing that
purpose.
is more on my heart is that again, to refer to the point that I made at the beginning, that Christ is not the synthesis between the Christ and the Antichrist. No, it's not. That's not how it is, and there is no communion between Christ and Belial. You you cannot come to what is truth just looking for a middle way between
Right,
the devil and Jesus.
right.
It's all on one side. Then of course we are all getting to the knowledge of truth in different way and to different degrees. There is there is no question about that. But on the level of reasoning and understanding, the way that we get to the truth is not through compromise; it's through reasoning, if something, or you know, helped by the light of faith. So
Yeah.
sorry,
I
but
would hope
when
it would be that clean. I'm not sure if my reasoning is that logical, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
well, it's I'm trying to point out to the uh, to the mechanism, let's say, to a right conception uh, to compare to the wrong one. I'm not saying that the right one is automatically working effectively for everyone. Then, but once we get the right conception, then we can start working through that. That is uh, a process in which everyone is in trying to grow in faith, in understanding, to grow personally in its own life, in virtues, to grow in doing good to others, to the community. It's all a process of growth. But again, what is your fundamental belief about truth and reality? You have to start in the right way, and the different ideologies that are at work in and through political ideologies. I repeat the ideologies twice, maybe, but it's they are not necessarily coming from the same foundation. They are not. So
Yeah.
when there is a clash of tragic magnitude, we cannot just assume that everybody is starting from the same conception. So that will just say that we have to try hard with applying the same solution, because that's not how it works. We are just I don't know what are we doing at some point.
Well, can we agree that? Well, maybe this isn't right, but thinking that like a fundamental consensus is that I am not God.
That works for me. I'm
But-
sure there's people that it doesn't work for, but it works
Right.
for me.
That's why I thought, well, no, but maybe that's where the kind of the genesis of the split is.
That
So-
is yeah.
Those who believe they are God and those who know they aren't God.
Yeah, it is one fundamental issue, because, and I will name the names in this case, but an ideology that is based on atheism, or start from an atheistic worldview, is fundamentally one that you have to replace God with yourself, or with a party, or with anything that is fundamentally human. And it is the first and the greatest blunder than a human being can do when it comes to everything, quite frankly. It's if your foundation of reasoning reality is based on the idea that there is no God, then everything after it is just is you're building nonsense upon nonsense. When you have accepted that fundamental lie, you can accept everything else. It's everything else is up for grabs, because the most unreasonable idea has made a root in your brain. That the most unreasonable things that is technically possible by definition is that there is no God. And once you have accepted that, or make it even take it for granted, everything else is up for grabs. There is no amount of absurdity or craziness or lie that you're going to be immune to believe, because you have accepted the fundamental one. So that in my opinion, it's one of the foundational problem of 20th century politics.
Well,
But yeah.
I think that the second layer in the stack, the first layer being I am not God. The second layer has to be in a world that I think a confused world that is essentially living in a self-centered ontology. In that case, I must be merciful. I have to be a channel for mercy, because the what I believe the those who believe that they are God or that there is no God, they're living in a self-centered ontology. They can't see the other thing for whatever reason. That's not my business. My business is, I think, mercy, and that's very expensive. It's very hard to actually be merciful, and because I think I essentially live in an other-centered or God-centered ontology. That's like the truth about it. I think for me, God and other-centered is, man, they are. That's why I say other-centered, because the others is my fellows, those I disagree with, those I agree with, those who, in some sense, might even be enemies, and God. That's the others. And what God would have me be, I think, is try to be a channel of mercy, because that, I mean, essentially that's how I was brought into relationship with him, was through a lot of self-centered, traveling through a self-centered ontology until I hit every single wall. And along the way, discovering mercy was there for me. And so, yeah, not to be too Pollyannish or anything, but I mean, there's a degree of Pollyanna. I mean, if you ever see the Pollyanna story, I mean, I think we say that in kind of like a dismissive way, but there is something truly beautiful in that story, that we are called to be. And yeah, so yeah, I don't know. It's just my thinking on the thing.
I had a thought. The AA formulation is the higher power. So if you're saying there is no higher power, then that makes it really does sound kind of crazy. If you were to look in the mirror and say, there is no higher power, that means I am the highest power, right? I mean, just the way that comes out, it's like not just that, but there is no authority over me, that I am the highest. And then you're not only are you saying there is no God, you're actually saying that you are the God. That's your choice. Either there is one that someone has authority over you, or you are the highest authority, is kind of what it comes down to. And that does sound very crazy.
Well, right.
It doesn't sound right at all, and it will come out with all sorts of various strange forms, but it sounds on the edge of insane. But I know people operate, and we forget that there's authority over us, and we're incensed that the policeman pulls us over for speeding. Even when we knew we were speeding, it's like, what? And my craziness with the bug and whacking him with my shoe, it was like, I am in control. You cannot be in my space. I am the master of this empty house. It's easy to actually participate in that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I like the alcoholic frame. I mean, if you were the master of the house there, why don't you just why don't you go outside and cut the power to the house and then turn the lights on? If you're the master of the house, do that. Try it once. I mean, that's the alcoholic frame is really good, because what the alcoholic knows is that alcohol is a power greater than him. And that's a really good place to begin. Right. And from there, you can start to see that you are not the master of your own house.
No, I'm not even the master of my own brain.
We are called self-control. That's a hard one for me. When St. Paul talks about self-control, it's like, yes, but I am not the source of power for the control. I am a channel for that. It's like the idea of free versus freedom. I think freedom happens within a domain, a very wild domain, but a very robust domain. and I don't know how to define any of that, or if that's even my job. I think that's why humility is vital. I am not the center of the universe. In fact, I'm called to serve. We, I think, are called to serve, and we will serve whether we like it or not.
Yes, 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 that's true. You're going to be a good example or a bad example, or you're going to be a vessel of purity or a vessel of whatever. Yeah, Tunji, I don't want to discount what you said. That there is a specific higher person. It's not just that there is a authority, but there is a specific unique authority, and we argue over exactly what his attributes are. But there is a truth to be found as he reveals himself to us, I guess, and we make our own rational attempts to describe him.
Yeah, but that is the starting point. It's not the conclusion. It's just the beginning of everything else, of every consideration that you make in life, every choice, every path, every decision, from the individual to the collective. That is not the point of arrival. That's the starting point.
Yeah.
That's why it's a fundamental where we need to be aware of and address.
The little 2-year-old child stomps their foot. No one's in charge of me, and when you see that, I don't know if it happens to you, but I'm so tempted to just laugh. It's so funny, no one's in charge of me. Like Chad, you point out, they couldn't, not only electricity, they can't feed themselves, and they have that thing in the middle of them, it's like, I am the epitome. I have reached the top. I am the top. That's a thing that drives us around.
Yeah, this TW, I don't know, TW, the idea of, this is why I was thinking about this idea of other-centered ontology versus relational ontology, because relational still has me at the center. And it's like a given. It's like, I don't know, talking about the importance of oxygen or something. It's like, yeah, it's like, it's a I don't know. I don't know. Am I a center of the universe? No. I'm let's say even if it's true, is that any of my business? That, you know what I'm saying? That I am a center of the universe. Like, given that I am a self-centered person to begin with, what good does it do me to know and believe that I am a center of the universe? It's like, no.
I think I have a response to that, and that is that you are given that as a responsibility. You're the hub of a wheel. It may be a very small wheel, but you are the hub of a wheel, and your spokes going out to others, and they relying on you to a certain degree. So yeah, you're the center of at least a small part.
Yeah, it's it's an image that can be a little bit abstract, because unless you point to some application, some practical consequences of the point of view, because you are seeing through your own eyes. So from a perception point of view, you are the center of your perception. You are the center of your own being, and that's. But then, what do you do with that is a whole different story. Spiritually, we are invited to have the Holy Spirit in us, to have God in us. So our center become no longer us ourselves, and then externally, then also our goals are not simply our own goals. So that things that are of our interest and that benefit us. So internally and externally, we conform. We are in the purpose of God for our life and for the universe. So apart without that spiritual consideration, the other centeredness is it depends always on what is that other thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the others that we are talking about? It's and should be the center, or we are just talking about a goal that is instead conformed and with a higher purpose of God for us, for instance.
To be a vessel or a channel for God, I
Yeah.
think as the vessel or a channel, I can't be a center. I have to be like God is the center, obviously.
Yeah.
And this is all, even engaging in the argument in itself, in the way that I want to be defensive, is a self-centered mode of operations. So I have to be careful with that. That I am right or anything like that is kind of like where the beginning of my difficulties lie. I am right. It's no. Yeah. Sorry if I'm getting weird.
No, you're all
No,
right.
that's fine. That's fine. Good reflections. Yeah, I would say there is something that is can be, it can become quite neurotic about it. It's, to wanted to always being in the mode of analysis on oneself own intentions and the motivation. You know, it can become a trap where you cannot escape, and even if you do the right thing, you are worried or bothered by the fact that there is something wrong by being perceived doing the right thing, you know. And it's a neurotic kind of state of being that is not necessarily helpful to just doing good or being good. Sometimes sometimes you just want to do good and not worry about how are you going to be received, or even how do you judge yourself, you know. You can judge yourself too harshly even when you do good, and I don't think there is any particular benefit to it, but it depends on everyone.
Mm-hmm. My big hope, again, moving forward, is that we actually not only promote, but actually live lives that are merciful, like mercy and grace and obedience at the center of that as we move forward, generally speaking. And I don't know what you guys have all touched on, but I just was this morning very moved, and I sense that there is something very powerful, very, very powerful on the horizon, and it will depend on good, graceful, merciful, and obedient men to keep things moving in hopefully the right direction. I don't know if that sounds crazy to you guys, but that's how I feel, and it has not to do with democracy or anything like that. It's like there's something greater than democracy on the move right now, which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a disruption, actually, I think, in the narrative of democracy. Not that it's bad, but like something more powerful seems to be rising, which is very interesting to witness. It almost gives me chills.
I don't know if this has anything to do with what you said. We look back at the 1920s, 1930s, and how like people will say we're in this thing where we could have a new fascism coming up, and I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't even like referring to that. But there's the uncertainty after World War I, which most people don't know about or whatever because they don't read about World War I or whatever. But there was economic uncertainty and political uncertainty. The world of the kings and emperors had been overthrown, and so it was unknown exactly who would be in charge. And Russia had fallen to the communists, and the communists were a big force that could kind of steamroll. And the antidote to that was kind of seen as the Mussolini style of kinder fascism, and then Hitler took that in a stronger way. And I can kind of see where our faith in the democratic system is being really tried, really tested. And it was tested in the United States also in the Great Depression. We talk about World War II a lot, but I think the Great Depression maybe even had more effect on the United States than World War II did. And that was a test of the economic stability of the country. So we've got these various tests going on, a test of democracy, whether we can trust this other person, whether the controls that we have, the checks and balances actually work, or if one party has taken over, the bad guys are all in charge now, or one way or the other, and those are tests of our faith in the system that we have. And if you lose faith in the system that you have, then you're in like the Old Testament Israelites where they say, we've got to have a king. This isn't working anymore. The judges, this plan isn't working. We must have a king. And Samuel points out to them, there's going to be all these bad things happen, but we can't take it anymore. We've got to have a king. And so they change. And then I do have a feeling that we're putting ourselves in frustration over the inadequacies of democracy. And even as we participate in it, the people who are participating in it, the representatives, decry it, and they say, if you would vote for me and all our guys, we would solve all these problems. But because we have to negotiate with those bad guys, we can't make the good things happen. And so they're actually bringing it down as they are representatives of it and trying to participate in it. So yeah, I get that flavor that it's going to take a lot of faith to, number one, uphold our political system if we like our political system the way it is and not come up with something worse, but also our basic understanding of humanity and what is right in the way of treating people that you disagree with, or building these teams and working against each other. My hope is that the localness of it, the individualness of it, that when we talk, that we'll see that the world shouldn't be run by giraffes, or it shouldn't be run by hippopotamuses, or in the Animal House case, it shouldn't be run by the pigs. It should have this variety and be workable, which is not a worship of diversity, but it's the necessity of commonality with the diversity that's already forced upon us. The diversity is there, and you have to have some way of managing it. And so that was my speech. I'm sorry, I kind of ran away with it.
No, I think what I wanted to say on the thing is, like, I don't think that democracy is going away. I just think that the values, I don't know. It's like in my mind, it's like the like when you shake up a snow globe and then things start to settle. Like what's settling right now is like, yeah, no, we're not going to get rid of democracy's not going away. It's just not the highest thing. It's just not the highest thing. And yeah, so I don't know. That's just maybe I'm projecting, but I just feel like one thing that like unites Tunji and us is not democracy. I mean, it's playing a part in our unity because we're able to like have the freedom to be able to talk across the globe in the way that we are. We have the tools of modernity that we can do all that, but really the thing that unites us is Christ. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yes.
that's the highest thing is being made apparent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yes.
more people are going to see it. People that would not believe themselves that are saying they're recognizing it. Like we're already seeing some of that starting to shake up right now. And what I'm really curious to see is most of the stories that I saw play out in the last 6 years, they were really hot and crazy for 2 weeks, and then you don't hear anything about them. I will be very interested in seeing how the current story is that going to happen with that story too? And I don't think it will. Anyways,
I agree with that. I am with you, Judd. Maybe some change can be invisible, but still irreversible. Something is going in another direction now, and yeah, for those who have eyes to see it, yeah, they will see.
amen.
Well, that sounds like a good place to stop, and I need to get working for the day. So I wanted to do this channel so we'd have these discussions. So thank you for coming in. And the guys over in the chat have been talking about very interesting things, and it helps me settle a little bit each day. So thank you. Thanks for being here.
Me too.
See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.